Okay. Okay. Well, good morning and welcome to the July Mayor and City Managers Press Conference. I appreciate the opportunity to visit with you about a number of things. There are a couple of things I want to bring up that have been in the news and people have been talking about. I just want to assure people that the city of Topeka has not missed a beat. There have been some issues that we've taken care of and addressed immediately. And I want you to know that there are plenty of activities and responsibilities that we are focused on and not letting any of our responsibilities to the citizens of the city of Topeka in any way diminish. So that's something I just wanted to bring out. I know that there's been some concern of where we are, and where we are is that we've been moving forward ever since I took office, and others have been helpful in that effort. So I appreciate bringing that up. The one thing I want to know is we have so many things going on in the city of Topeka. Our focus needs to be on the positive things that we have seen happen and those things that we have talked about. One of those topics is obviously the Topeka Hotel. I believe there's still a lot of misunderstanding of where the city is going with that hotel, and we are not going into the hotel business. I wanted to make that very clear. I think that's been also stated by our city manager as well. The assumption that just because we showed that interest, that we were interested in operating it is not accurate. And in fact, the sale has not been finalized yet by the court. But it was our intention to protect an asset that we have in the city of Topeka. There are a number of opportunities that will come to us because we have control of that property, whereas before, as in the past, if those properties came up and were purchased by someone out of state and they had no real plan to develop that property, then it would quickly go into distress. And so we wanted to make sure that didn't happen. That hotel is very positioned to be a bigger asset, even more than it has in the past, because of the improvements that have been made to the Starmont Vale Convention Center. And Convention Center requires a good operating hotel. Some of the expressed concerns are that it's in a very bad condition, but I can tell you it's not. I've done a walkthrough with others, and they look at the condition of the property. Like anything else that hasn't been touched for a number of years, it needs some updating. And that updating will take place as part of the move forward. I'm glad to say that we have closed the RFPs, two of them that we had out there, one for owner and operator ownership, and the other for asset management. And there are a number of applicants that we've received, and they are being given a lot of attention to give us the best opportunity to put us in the right place for that property. It's encouraging to see others in the community who see that vision that was shared when we made that bid. Not only in the private sector, but in the business sector, and some of our constituents as well, who don't have a really firsthand, opportunity to be involved with the hotel, but they see that the city is looking forward and not leaving things to chance. And that's the one thing that really we wanted to make sure that we took some control of. So I want to assure the citizens of Topeka that we've put together a very experienced and knowledgeable team internally, and we're looking with experts, external experts, to help us get to that position where we've made the best decision we can for the city of Topeka. And when we get closer and closer to that, those details will be shared. The governing body will be updated on a regular basis and will continue to be involved with that decision making. This is not any one person's idea. This is an effort by the governing body to move forward with an asset here in the city of Topeka. So that's one thing I wanted to bring up as well. Another thing I want to talk to and address is the conversations on homelessness. This is a conversation that has been going on for some period of time, and it seems to fluctuate in the news as to whether it's front page news or whether it's something that we're just used to. We should never get to the point that we're used to homelessness in the city of Topeka. And we've always tried to address it in the way that we feel is most responsible with the capacity and the resources that the city of Topeka has. And to do that, over the years, we have built quite a network of organizations that we collaborate with that helps the city try to find those different helpful actions that the city doesn't necessarily provide directly, but because we know people who do and organizations who are dedicated and committed to helping solve the problem, I think that puts us in a good position. I've often said that the city of Topeka doesn't lack for the resources or for the ingredients to the solution. We just haven't found quite the right recipe yet. But just like anything else, we keep trying, we keep adapting to what we need. And the input that we've received from the community has been helpful. I want to make sure that the community knows that we do have already those partnerships that have been suggested. Excuse me. Oftentimes, I get messages suggesting that we should do more with some of our partners like Vallejo or the Rescue Mission or Topeka Humanity, Homes for the Humanity. But we're doing that and have been doing that for some time. So the suggestions are welcome, but I want to assure the public that we have not been trying to do this on our own. We will take, as a city, a more robust position in partnering with our other organizations. And internal conversations have been had and are ongoing with regards to what actions the city can do to help reinforce our position in the community. So I just want to reassure people that this homelessness issue, excuse me, has been one that will be with the city for a while. We won't have a silver bullet or an overnight solution. We will have a step-by-step goal. And what I want to bring to the conversation, again, excuse me, if we can focus on a unity of purpose where we understand all together where we want to be and understand that we'll all have ideas and suggestions to get us there, but we have to be unified in our effort. We have to put all of our resources to work and lean into it and not back away from it. So I wanted to address that so that the public knows that this is being heard by everyone on the governing body. Everyone on the governing body has at their front of purpose to try and help those who need help and make us more effective in what we do. You have to excuse me, I'm going to turn it over to the city manager right now, just for a minute. I've got something. I'm going to go off camera if I may.
So let me take his crib notes here. So I'll tell you, we had a great weekend. For those of you who did not attend, you missed a lot, being not going down to Fiesta. In fact, my wife and I were up here, and we stayed overnight and spent time at Fiesta and enjoyed good food, enjoyed good company. It was, and here's a little anecdote. I live next door in Ottawa to a former Topeka resident who knows the mayor's family, who grew up in that neighborhood. And it's interesting to hear Scott talk about the people he knew in that neighborhood, and he didn't give me anything on the mayor I could use, but just what that neighborhood was like growing up in 50 years ago. So my message there is we have a number of ethnic festivals that happen in this community, and it is an important time for someone who might not be a part of that culture to learn about that culture, enjoy the food, enjoy the customs, enjoy the celebration. So I would encourage all of our residents to take advantage of that. Mayor, are you ready?
Yes, thank you. I appreciate that. I was able to get down there about 3 nights at the Fiesta, and I have to say that the pride I have in that community and the volunteers that bring that together needs repeating, because there are a lot of people that make that happen. Most of us go down there for the fun and enjoyment, but it's been months and months in the planning, and without them, it couldn't happen. But that happens in the city of Topeka. When there's something going on, the volunteers who have a commitment and a passion for those events and for those activities show up. And speaking of that, later on this week, Thursday, will be a gala event for the Kansas festivities that will last, I think, through Saturday. But there will be a black tie gala that is going to bring attention to and celebrate the contributions of the African Americans in this community and in this country. And that really makes me think about what we do in this city to elevate all of our population and not any one segment. So I would encourage those who have yet to have an opportunity to learn about the African American presence in Topeka and how they have made Topeka what it is today, how they have contributed to many aspects of our success, to take the time, reach out, attend the events, ask some questions. That was one of the things that the city manager and I spent some time with. He asked me questions about my childhood growing up in Topeka and in Oakland, and that's how you learn about people. And we talk about the bottoms. That was an ideal mix at the time, out of necessity more than anything, but it was something that a lot of people reflect on as how Topeka could come together with a variety of cultures and ethnicities and live in harmony. And so I would encourage people to take part of the Culture Fest as it's coming up this week. Again, Thursday night's the kickoff event. Then I also want to bring attention that next month in August, we will have the India Fest. That's yet another opportunity for us to celebrate a segment of our population that has been here for some time, has contributed in many ways to the city of Topeka, has been a fundraiser and philanthropist in the city of Topeka, some of the members of that group and organization. So again, it just shows that Topeka is an inviting community and they welcome a variety of cultures. We have a big event that's coming up that I don't have all the details to because there are so many, but we have a very capable diversity and equity and inclusion gentleman who I will ask to come up and to speak to the event that is also on the planning stages, Mr. Ernesto de la Rosa. Good morning, Ed.
Good morning, Mayor. Thank you for having me, and a lot of great, diverse celebrations and groups in our city. And as part of that, continuing that conversation, the DEI office has partnered with Top City Promise, a nonprofit organization in our city, to bring the first City's Newcomers Academy. The goal of the academy is to provide awareness of the functions and responsibilities are of public entities, foster open lines of communication between participants and officials, and create a tangible knowledge base for civic engagement for participants. And so this is another program that, again, we're working with Top City Promise. Our goal is to further integrate and welcome the Ukrainian refugee community in Topeka. The idea is that at the end of the program, they feel more integrated in our community, they feel more welcome, but they're more knowledgeable about the services provided in our community by local government and our partners. This is a 8-week program, and 20 residents will participate in the first academy. We started specifically with Top City Promise as a pilot program, and we hope to open it to the public in the future. So we'll start tomorrow, first session with the mayor and city manager, basically talking about their role in local government and meeting the participants. And then we will conclude the academy on Tuesday, September 12th at the governing body meeting. And so we'll have, again, 8 different sessions from different, hearing from different city departments and public entities, such as fire, PD, the mayor's office, of course, city manager's office, and others. Other public entities include Greater Topeka Partnership, Shawnee County Emergency Communications, and then the Topeka Transit. The other item, Mayor, that I like to include is the Mexican art exhibit. We partnered with the Mexican consulate in Kansas City, as well as the Topeka Shawnee County Public Library, to host the first Mexican art exhibit in partnership with the Mexican consulate. The art exhibit kicked off last Wednesday, the 19th, and will be for viewing for our residents until August 31st at the public library. So the name of the exhibit is Simple Memories of Routine Life, and it features the work and creator from artist and creator Mauricio Zúñiga, who is originally from Mexico and lives in Kansas City. This is, again, one of the first exhibits that we are hosting in Topeka through the partnership of the Mexican consulate. The partnership with the consulate, it's of great importance as we have many Mexican nationals that live in the community in Topeka, and to better serve them, to better really provide services to them, this partnership is vital and important to us. So that's all I have.
Thank you, Ed. Now, I think unless the city manager has something he'd like to directly address, we'll move to questions.
I'm ready to go to questions.
Okay. Any questions for us?
Could you bring your Nestor back?
Oh, yes. That was an easy thing.
So Top City
good
Promise,
answer.
is this a private organization?
Yeah, so this started as a sort of a volunteer organization. They recently obtained their 501c3 nonprofit status. The leader there is Jana Ross, and I believe it's my understanding they've been doing a lot of work with the Ukrainian refugee community in Topeka.
And Yana is a Ukrainian immigrant herself.
I believe she is, yes.
So, so there's 20 people in this. How were they picked?
Actually, again, it's a pilot program that we're starting this new academy with them. We trusted and leaned on Yana to pick the participants. I know she related to us that there's about 70 refugees in our community. We wanted to keep it short and small, but I think it's first come, first served type participation. But again, we hope to host it again in the spring next year.
And it's every Tuesday?
It's every Wednesday, except for the last session because of governing body meeting.
I think Tim would like to do a story on that, and you ought to have him come to class.
Yeah, no, that'd be helpful, and we would love to have you there tomorrow. It'll actually be here in this conference room at 6 o'clock.
And so, is everyone in this
That's my understanding. And again, there are new residents to our community, and the idea is to further integrate them. And it starts with local government by understanding and having knowledge of the different services and its operation, but most importantly, who leads those different departments or entities.
And there are plans for another one of these in the spring, but the nuts and bolts haven't been worked out.
Right. We're waiting to see how this new academy goes, work out the kinks, if you will, and iron out those details. My hope is to continue the academy for the immigrant refugee community, but in the near future, also open it for the general public.
Mayor, thank you.
Thank you.
Why did you choose to bring up the hotel again? Have you been getting a lot more grief lately, and that's why you thought you didn't need to bring it up? Because it's kind of old news. It's, you know what I'm getting at. So.
Well, it's not old news for us, Eric, because people ask me about it all the time. And it's not so much grief as it is trying to get information to understand what we're trying to do. And I think that I'm welcome to get the questions and what are we doing? Why are we doing this? I appreciate that because I think the more the public knows, the less they have to speculate on that or anticipate the worst, because I anticipate the best. And that's what we're looking for now. So it's not, I think it's just a matter of people just have never seen the city of Topeka do anything like this and encouraged in a way that we actually took a stand for our city. And so I want people to understand that this was a move to better our position as a community to invite more conferences and conventions, grow our bed tax, grow our sales tax, all of those things that go to help us provide the funds to fill the potholes that everybody else asks about too. So all of this is all economic development, and it's just something that we have never done before. So understandable that people are wanting to have some updates, and those updates will come as we move forward. We have to be cautious in that when you're dealing in business. You never want to give away all your leverage or the information when you have people competing. And we have had a good interest. Like I said, there have been a number of people, and I say people, organizations who have made application. So that's encouraging. And it happened almost, I don't want to say overnight, but very quickly. So we knew as a body or as an administration that the move was seen in a positive way.
If I may, Mayor.
Yes.
Every hotel is important to the city of Topeka. This hotel is very important to the city of Topeka. It opened in 1996. And I will tell you, over the years, I've been to conferences there, some public, some private. My wife and I have come up here and stayed at that hotel. And it is in a unique position because of its partnership with the county that owns the Manor Center also. And if that hotel were not a part of this economy, we would notice that. And it's not only the city that's interested in it succeeding and trying to get the right management there. It's also Greater Topeka, it's our convention and tourism agencies. It's, you think about the spin-off of vendors that might work at that hotel. That's why it's important to this community.
I think it's also shows that the city recognizes that the county is a part of this whole effort as well. They have opportunities too now because we have that property in our possession once the sale goes final, that the county can step up and do some things to help support the efforts of the hotel revitalization, as it were, because that is a unique component of that whole campus that we have here in the city of Topeka. So again, having a partnership with the other governing body is extremely important.
When you talk about attracting more conferences and events over to the hotel and the convention center, do you have any ideas of what events those might be? Do you have anything in mind?
Well, I know, and maybe city manager knows from his experience with the League of Municipalities, that in the city, because it's a capital city, there are a number of state organizations and that use this location for their annual conferences. And it's a preferred location.
It is. For example, within the league, there's probably 15, 20 ancillary organizations that come under the league. The governing body itself will meet in that hotel for their meetings. I've been there probably a couple of times a year during the course of my career, as long as that hotel's been there, for that. There are private organizations that use that. You can go anytime you're there, you can go in there and you can see those rooms being rented out to local organizations, like some of the groups we've talked about today have used that. So it is an important facility for the community. It gives the community choices, and without it, it would be harmful to our economy.
There was discussion at last week's council meeting about the cost of the renovations. Is that anticipated about $20 million?
Well, it all depends on who's making the estimates, I guess. People who are in the industry are probably more knowledgeable than I would be in estimating it. Again, Tim, it's a good question because I think there has to be some idea of what it's going to take. But the costs are those costs that we feel as we put out the RFPs, that business entities who are interested in taking over the operation of the hotel will evaluate in a more precise way.
But we want, I think another way of looking at that is that we as a city want to make sure that everybody out there has all the information they can have as they take a look at that hotel. We are not doing those improvements.
Another of the concerns I'm hearing from folks is that the city is doing the stuff for the hotel, but it's really benefiting the county, which runs the expo center. There are suggestions that, perhaps the county could do more as a part of this. Are you hearing those? What are you telling people where you are?
I don't know that it's accurate to say that we're doing it to benefit the county. We're doing it to benefit Topeka and Shawnee County because they're tied together. We have really got to get to the point where we understand that it's not a city problem and it's not a county problem. Because if it were not for the city, the county wouldn't have the resources they have. So it has to be a real partnership, and that's what we've been trying to work towards for some time now. This is a very visible opportunity to the community to see if that effort to collaborate in a better way will be taken up. And I think that the county sees that there's a need to make the improvements to the adjacent properties and buildings there. And there have been some internal talks already about that. So the benefit, I really have to say that for me, being in Shawnee County, you have to see that the city has to prosper as much as it can, and the county acknowledges that. Any other questions? All right. Well, thank you for your time and attention. I apologize for having that little coughing fit there that I had to take care of, but I appreciate Ernesto's work in bringing a lot of these events to the city of Topeka and making them defined and helping them define so that people can point to us and look at us and say that we are in fact a welcoming community. I do want to thank the city manager again because he has come in and he has taken the reins without any hesitation, and we meet on a pretty regular basis about a lot of things. The good thing I heard him say this morning, though, is that when he goes home, his wife says, you come home with a smile on your face.
That's right.
So we must be doing something right to encourage him to continue with this, and we're glad he's here. So thank you for your attention. If there's no further questions, we can call the conference. Go ahead.
So I'd also,
Go
excuse
ahead,
me, I'd
please.
also say this on a personal note. It is important in any community to understand everybody's story. I know that Tim is what, a seventh generation Topekan? And that Tim and I have a lot of the same interest and know the same people. I heard the mayor's story the other night. It's an incredible story. And if you want to understand cultural differences in the community, you need to listen to people's stories. Ed was in my office and he got the famous Richard interrogation, which is, as my daughters say it, it's continuous questions. But he didn't have the same flexibility as my daughters, who can tell me to quit asking questions. But Ed's story is important. And people ought to ask other people, what's your story? Why are you here? How did you get here? What do you see about the positives of the community you're in? And if we do that, I'm a believer that that helps communication improve, because if I understand what Tim's about and he understands what I'm about, we will have a better conversation. So there you go. That's my homily for today.
Thank you very much.